Now we start with Central Asia and US President Donald Trump will be meeting with the leaders of 5 Central Asian nations at the White House today. This meeting comes as the US seeks to increase its influence in a region that's dominated by Russia and currently gaining attraction from China. Bringing together the US and 5 Central Asian countries including Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. It's the C5 is the C5+1 platform, which was established in 2015 to promote cooperation on economic, energy, and security matters. Now, these talks will be focusing on countering China and Russia's influence, particularly in the area of Central Asia's vast mineral resources. Under President Trump, the U.S. has been working to secure new mineral partnerships to reduce its dependence on China and Russia. It is important to note that the Central Asian region is rich in minerals like uranium, copper, gold, and rare earths, which are essential for global energy transitions and nuclear power. As per data reports, the U.S. currently relies on Russia for about 20% of its imported uranium, making the diversification of resources a critical goal. Now, for this discussion, we welcome retired Major General Gigi Dwivedi. He's an international relations and defense expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Major General Gigi Dwivedi, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, do you think that U.S. moving to secure a deal or become closer with these 5 Central Asian countries, is it too late, as we know that they have very close ties with Russia, also looking at their history of being under Soviet Union in the past?
Well, Asuma, firstly, always a pleasure to be on the NewsX world.
Thank you.
Well, absolutely, you're right. The Central Asian Republic, the 5 countries what you named, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan, all the 5 countries were part of the erstwhile Soviet Union. And it's after the Soviet Union broke up, well, these 5 countries also became independent. But nonetheless, Soviet influence still is there, that is, the Russian influence still is there because these countries were, after all, part of the Soviet Union. But at the same time, even China has also developed very close ties because they are neighbors China. And this region, Central Asian Republic, is actually a very strategically important region because it constitutes almost 60% of the Eurasian landmass. And these ties have been actually formalized through the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where the 4 countries, but for Turkmenistan, are members of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And the Chinese have invested large sums of money, uh, primarily in infrastructure as part of the Belt Road Initiative. So therefore, I think you're right that Americans or US is slightly late entrant, but nonetheless, in 2015, there was an agreement signed between the C5 and America to develop closer ties with these countries and also try to wean away these countries from China and Russia. And currently, America is trying to diversify its acquisition of rare earth material, minerals, and also the other critical minerals like uranium, copper, and coal. So therefore, this agreement and calling these 5 presidents to the White House primarily is to diversify the American supply chain, reduce dependence upon Russia and China, and to develop closer ties with these Central Asian Republic because the world over the supply chains are being realigned, and therefore this is the American effort to develop closer ties with these 5 countries and also develop more engagement, especially as far as the rare earth minerals are concerned, and particularly uranium. Kazakhstan almost has the 40% of the global production, and America depends on Russia for the uranium needs. So all I can say is that this is the effort by the Americans to develop closer ties with the Central Asian republics and also to realign the supply chains and reduce dependence upon China and Russia. Therefore, this meeting is very important, and I'm sure that this will have certain degree of impact to develop closer ties between these countries and America. Asuma.
Right. And Major General, do you think that this could escalate or provoke greater tensions between U.S. with Russia and China? And how does this C5+1 platform reflect U.S.'s evolving approach towards Central Asia?
Definitely, because Central Asian region is an arena for the uh, big power rivalry, and therefore the tensions to some extent would be there. But today, all the countries are engaging in multilateral forums, and it's not a zero-sum game. So these Central Asian republics also would like to diversify their supply chains and also their trade ties beyond the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So to that extent, I think in today's world, multilateralism is the currency, and every country tries to pursue their own interest, and also diversification is the order of the day. So I don't think that the tension will be heightened because the traditional ties between Central Asian Republic, China, and Russia are there because they are part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. But today we are talking about political economy. So in a political economy, diversification is very much accepted. To that extent, I don't think it's a zero-sum game, but yes, America developing closer ties, the Chinese and Russian will be closely watching, but inherently they have deep-rooted ties, the Central Asian Republic with China and Russia. So to that extent, I don't think it's going to be a major tension, and more so, after the meeting between President Trump and President Xi Jinping at Busan in South Korea, they are talking about the G2. That means the two big powers actually creating a new world order. So I think that this adjustment will be part of the political economy, but it would not give rise to tension. But nonetheless, diversification, multilateralism is the currency of today's geopolitics, and I think these Central Asian republics have certain degree of autonomy to pursue their national interests and diversify. So I leave it at that. Asuma.
Right. With that, I would like to thank Major General Gigi Dwivedi for joining us as an international relations and defense expert from New Delhi. Thank you very much. Now we move on